All right. Hey everybody, what's up? It's been a while. Alrighty. So yeah, GBM, another week, another rerun. Very interesting. I think I need like a straw for this. I'm confused. Like touch the ground and immediately liquefy, but now that it's in my cup, it's like ignoring physics. What are you? I'll just have to wait for you to warm up a little more. Fucking fighting to the death. All right. So we're gonna review the Vual as well. I might as well, considering I missed it. I really want to drink this while it's still cold. I don't have a spoon, do I? Curses. Oh well. So, this week what we're going to do, we're going to check out our event suit, the Gusion Rebake. We're going to check out the new gacha content, and last week's gacha content. Then we'll head up Twitter to see what's up with videos, and then we'll roll on over to alterations, our normal cycle. Yeah, I guess let's get cracking, shall we? So, our event suit. The Gusion Rebake, another form, or attribute. So, the noggin. What do we got here? Oh, it definitely looks like a rebake. While heavy armor, not a difficult tag to get. Squad melee crit rate plus 30%. Crit rate is quite unfortunately worthless. So that trait is also worthless. All right. As for tags, close combat, heavy armor. All right, thematically on point for the suit. Close combat, very powerful tertiary tag for melee builds. Heavy armor, not so much. Much more of a defensive orient with a little bit of shot on the side. As for stats, okay, so as far as welfare heads go, obviously very low shot attack because this is more of a melee suit. In the melee department, this suit is pushing about 1600 or so melee attack. For a welfare head, that is extremely good. Typically we see, you know, about 900 to 1100 in that bracket, sometimes 1200. The really good suits push beyond that. So for a welfare, good stats. The rest of it's, well, the tags are kind of mediocre altogether. None of the top tier tags, but to be expected, doesn't really work with the suit. But at least it has a solid tertiary. But unfortunately, the trait is a write-off. Oh shit, that's good. Melt faster, damn you. Hey, Alan. All right. Torso. When attacking with physical, easy to do. Melee power boosted by 25%. All right. That's actually really solid for a welfare. Attacking with physical is very easy to do. We have tons of access to physical skills, whether shot or melee. However, as this does boost melee power, you're probably going to want to use that. The 25% is a very healthy boost, especially in the torso slot for a welfare. So if you lack any good traits or EX skills to place on that torso, well, here you go. This is pretty good for melee builds. All right. Word tags are the same as the head, so I won't bother with those. As for stats, now do remember it's a torso. Before the Super Sokai, we used to see about 1,000 or so on the decent suits for shot and melee for offensive stats. Things have changed a little bit. Now we're looking at a relatively token amount of shot attack, about 750, 800, kind of around there. Melee fares a lot better though. We're sitting at about 1830, 1850, kind of in that bracket. For torso, that's good stuff. Good stuff. So trait, aces, tags, workable, stats. Mwah. I like this torso for a welfare. It really does bring quite a bit. All right, arms. When one ally shot down, buff EX skill time up 15%. So this requires you to have teammates, which automatically cuts out a chunk of content. Anything single, effectively. And buff EX skill time up 15%. The buff EX skill time I don't think is really that important. Most buffs have a very generous duration. But to keep in mind, 15%, not a terribly large number. And to boot, frankly, if you're using buffs and they're running out before the end of the match, you're either like really, really new to the game, in which case you'll find something better than this no matter what, or get good. I'm just gonna say it. If your fight is taking like 60 seconds, which is the average length of a lot of buffs, kind of in that bracket, it's like what, 40 to 60 seconds in there. Yeah, I don't really know what to say, man. Like, the meta's kind of shifted to 1 to 2 second matches, so. Shit, so good. All right. Tags are the same, Assault Pass. And as for stats, again, we're looking at token shot, about 600 or so. Melee obviously fares a lot better. We're looking at about, what, 3,800, 3,850 or so melee attack. For a pair of welfare arms, that's really good. Do keep in mind, our post-Super Sokai welfare arms typically push about 3,400 to 3,600. This goes well beyond that, so good job. Good job. Can we see the torso maxed out? Yeah, sure, whatever. It's got some pretty good numbers on it. All right. Legs. Halberd. Wow, that EX skill looks mighty familiar. All right, melee attack boost of 24%. That's a solid buff. D, Pierce, B plus power, low cooldown. Altogether, on paper, sounds really, really good. In practice, I remember this animation not being that great, which immediately makes it kind of moot. Shit, I should bump more. Isn't that straight better than a regular? Yeah, Knight. So one thing you have to remember, and this is pretty important, the stats of post Super Sokai parts, okay, the stats of those parts are way better than anything pre-Super Sokai. We have seen welfare suits completely decimate Gacha 4-star from before the Super Sokai thing dropped. So it's no surprise that a welfare version of a suit that came very early in this game's life cycle completely power corrupted. You know, that's honestly to be expected. So, and it's just the state of affairs. Yeah, I wonder how long it'll be until we see welfares matching the strength of Sokais of old. It won't be too much longer at this rate. Anyways, so, skill. On paper, really good. Good buff, good power, good cooldown timers. In practice, pretty sure this animation is absolute dog water. Dodge. And the buff applies after the animation completes. Ooh, no, that's gonna be a no for me, dog. Yikes. All right. So, the legs do away with heavy armor, and instead we get the 4 desert word tag. Unfortunately, I think the 4 line of tags is miserable, as I say every video effectively at this point. I think it'd be so much better than what it currently is, and due to the lack of control we have over the maps that we play on in most content, you really don't ever get to see this really shine. With that in mind, trading heavy armor for 4 desert, I think is a net loss overall. At least close combat stays near and dear. Numerically, we're looking at about, oh boy, 600 or so shot attack, token. Do keep in mind, legs and backpack typically have the lowest offensive stats of the entire frame of the suit, so we do expect lower numbers. However, we have seen more or less consistently welfare suits breaking past 1k, so seeing this one with a shot attack significantly below that means clearly this ain't no shot machine, and if it was, we'd have to use its scissors on it. Put it out of its misery. Anyways, melee attack, obviously a lot better. We're looking at about 1850, kind of around there. For a pair of legs, welfare legs, that is packing a lot of heat. It's a shame the EX skill is so bad. All right. Backpack. Forearm combat. D, Pierce, A- power. This is a cutscene skill, as you can tell by the bindable in the top right corner. Squad recovers 48% of maximum armor. Heals are nice. Raise melee attack of your squad by 29%. Buffs are nice. All melee skill cooldowns instantly down 18%. What? You're telling me they gave a welfare this ability. The ability that's up to this point been more or less exclusively locked behind gacha suits. Sokai suits particularly. Impressive. I legitimately, the one single downside that I can see to this, and there is only one, is that it's stuck at A- power. That's pretty much it. Because it is a welfare suit, it is not going to see an alteration for a very, very, very long time at this rate. And with that being considered, the A- power is pretty much there to stay. It doesn't negate everything else that this brings to the table, especially as it is a welfare and very simple to max out. But yeah. I'm almost scared to check out the shield now. End of the day, this is an amazing part. If you were to prioritize any part of the Gusion Rebake, it's going to be this one. Okay. Tags. Same as the legs. Moving on. Statistically, well, okay. So, what, 720, 750, kind of around there. Shot attack, token amounts, below 1,000. So, as for offensive stats, we're looking at about 1,700 or so, kind of around there for a backpack. That's pretty beefy. For a welfare, good stats. For a welfare, amazing EX skill, something we'd normally expect from a Sokai. And a workable tag with not a favorite of mine sub-tag. Overall, that backpack's pretty good. Yeah. Okay. Moving right along to the actual halberd, not the EX skill, or we'd have to throw that in the garbage too. Defender job, melee power boosted by 30%. Now, on paper, that sounds pretty good. I got my hands on a defender, and it's got some pretty good stats. And that 30% melee power sounds pretty good. Yeah, hey, bearer of bad news coming along, ding dong. If you equip an infighter or an outfighter job license, you passively get a big fat melee boost anyways. And it kind of helps because there's lots of traits and stuff activated by infighter and stuff on suits that are good for melee attack. I'm not saying this is completely unusable, far from. If you do have a build that doesn't need infighters or outfighters, then this may be an option for you, as that 30% melee power boost goes a significant way in offsetting anything you may potentially lose from not using a proper pilot license. Yeah, 30% is a good number. Okay. Statistically. Cool. So we have literally just under 4K melee attack. I'm pretty sure that puts this halberd at the current ceiling for the highest melee attack of a welfare weapon. Before we do any marks. Alright, we also get rid of the 4 desert tag and bring back heavy armor. Cool. So we have a trait that could be very powerful depending on your build. Stats that are excellent for a welfare weapon, a top tier. Definitely top 1%. And as for word tags, we still have our close combat and that heavy armor secondary. Still not ideal for melee builds, but it is there. Hey Daj, what's up, man? Alright, let's check out the rifle. Not why anyone is here, but hey, you know what? Why not? It's here. Physical ranged weapon reload speed boosted by 15%. Keep in mind, this only affects the weapon that you have in your ranged weapon slot. In this scenario, it would be this rifle. And it will only actually activate in this scenario if it is a physical ranged weapon. Those are not as common as beam, for obvious Gundam reasons, but they do exist. However, the reload speed boost of 15% just does not make it worthwhile. That's going to be a no for me. Close combat, heavy armor. Talked about that tag combo already. As for stats, we have a this is a hefty amount of melee attack for a ranged weapon. 615, huh? Diggity damn. Has about 3,400 shot attack, which is not bad. Definitely puts it kind of in the higher bracket for shot attack for a welfare. But that melee attack is really solid, especially if you need something that range slot for it. I would recommend swapping out the trait, though, as, you know, you're probably not going to be using this rifle on a melee build. Well, I mean, you might have it equipped for the stats, but you're not going to use the rifle, you know? You dig? You dig the words I'm spitting? That's so good. Damn. Alright, and the Gusion shield. What do we got here? Close combat, heavy armor. Off to a good start. Halberd throw. B plus power, D pierce. It looks effectively unchanged. We have a second Ya Yeet Gusion shield. And this one is free real estate. Cool. The Gusion Rebake halberd throw is considered one of the better yeets in the game. It is excessively quick, little fanfare, very quick travel time, hits like 2 trucks, and as it is now a freebie, you can get it to level 10 with little to no difficulty. I don't see why you wouldn't. Okay. As for numbers. Yo, for a shield, this is kind of jacked. Alright, so we're looking at about 500 or so shot attack. You know, it's a shield. Getting anything at all, I think, is substantial. Melee, however, is actually a whole different story. We're looking at about 1,400 melee attack on this shield after carryover pre-mark. Damn. And a good, hefty chunk of that is from its defense values. Both of the defense values on this shield are absolutely swole. This is they're really good, honestly. Yeah. Power creep's a scary thing. Alright, so, order of operations. You get that backpack. You get that shield. Torso if you need it, I guess. Backpack, then shield. If you are in absolute dire need of a yeet skill for your melee build, get the shield, then the backpack. But get both of them. Shouldn't be too hard to get them both the EX10, so. Or trait 10. Alright, cool beans. Man, I remember the days when we were happy seeing a welfare suit approaching 3K for, you know, its primary part offensive value, you know, for shot machines, the heads, for melee, the arms. And now we're, like, disappointed if it's just above 3K. Times have changed. Okay. And I don't think there's anything else in here I need to look at, which is excellent. One thing I do want to check, though, what are our fragments for this suit? Justice, Unicorn. I'm pretty sure those are rollovers. X, Red Frame, Shenlong. The OG, huh? Nah, man, it's a dodge. Cool. Nothing really stands out in that list. Not anymore, anyways. Like, the red frame for bisect, sure, but, like, everyone has bisect at this point. Anyways. Cool beans. Is there anything new in event blueprints, I wonder? Nope. No, it has not. Oh, the build thing lineup changed? Alright, what do we got? F91... and the Seed Awakened Yamato. Cool beans. Kira has a healthy amount of shot, if I remember correctly. The F91... I don't think it left any, like, lasting impression with me, so... Check units in multi-mission coin exchange. Stargazer. Stargazer, Stargazer, Stargazer. Not a good suit by any metric. I just like the general look of it. Cool beans. Head cutscene, A- magazine back after alter. That's really nice and all. It's just like... It is a huge investment to just like go for those things on those suits when we have almost, if not equivalent, magazine skills on other parts that we don't need to spend extremely like precious resources on, right? Like, yeah, since now it's a little different as we can just farm up the items in exchange directly for the stuff that we want from these new build, not new, but the build project suits. That's really cool. But, like, I don't know, man. I like, if you have nothing better to spend it on, sure, magazine skills are always nice to hoard. But it comes a point where you just, like, what now, you know? Good stuff. Okay. High Mobility Gelgu, Johnny, Sword Strike, Stargazer, Celine, Delta. Yeah, you know what I mean, Knight. Like, if it's a suit or a pilot you really, really like, don't let anybody stop you. You pick it up, man. Play your favorites. You don't need to worry about meta in this game. But if you're going to be meta hunting, I'll tell you right now, like, just don't, man. Just don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. It ain't worth. All right. So with all of that out of the way, let's go take a look at what's sitting in our gacha pool. Game dying? No, I wouldn't say the game is dying. I just think that they've made an interesting decision all inning on the attribute link thing that they introduced like a year ago and then never built on any further. Directly after they decided, oh yeah, we should probably change our upload schedule for new content. I can understand how to a lot of people it looks like the game is dead and the devs don't care anymore. Believe me, I can understand that. Yeah, but I will say that from the perspective of someone that's like just kind of enjoying the game in a casual sense, all I see is them doing the schedule change and going, we should leverage like this attribute link thing that we left on the wayside And it's just bad timing. Because I'll tell you right now, there are so many things that have happened with bad timing in games, especially in the last year. I would not be surprised whatsoever. One of the first things that comes to mind, actually, literally the first thing that comes to mind, the current world events going on in Europe right now, right? If you play as your lane, they had a Russian event kicking up right around the time all that happened. That's a bad look. Let me tell you what, that is a spicy moment. Bad timing. They did not plan that. A lot like this. I have a feeling that it's just two things that happen to coincide, and it's bad mojo, man. Bad mojo. So, I don't know. At the same time, I look at it as, shit, I get more time to save Haro. Alright, yeah, you pointed it out pretty true there. Night anniversary is coming up very quickly. I would recommend that everyone buckles down, saves every single scrap of Haro they can, and use that as the judging post. If the anniversary comes and goes and there's nothing amazing, then I can understand people going, hey, game is dying. At that point, yeah, if you don't celebrate an anniversary for your game, that's a very telltale sign that there's something wrong. But almost everything in between that is pretty much fair game, frankly. So, you know, do I need to start looking at other games and pointing out their flaws almost every single, week? Just like, hey, yeah, they just disrespect the players, guys. A lot worse than this, let me tell you what. Alrighty. Anyways, so as the Wing Gundam Zero Power Tribute is a 7-star tune-up, we're going to ignore it until we get to alterations. As you do. We're going to check out our pilots, check out the suit from last week, and then we're going to hit up Twitter and then check out those alterations. It's a fun game to make your favorite kit bashes. If you're looking for a competitive game, you'll be disappointed. Try telling that to the people that play this game ultra competitively and are trying to stay in the top 0.1%. Whatever makes you happy, man. Chase your dreams like a dog chases its bone. But holy crap, I feel so sorry for you. Hey Delta, not much. The Gusion Rebake is really good. The backpack is busted. The shield is completely overshadows its original. And there's some interesting stuff in the exchange. The specific fragment exchange and dust exchange. Other than that, though. Are you going to look at the Gundam Vual? Yes. Once I have finished looking at these pilots, I'll be looking at the Vual, whatever. And then I'll be checking the Twitter videos and then our ever so fun alterations. I'm just looking at the pilots top down, you know. Alrighty. Ni Gylin. Gylin? Jillin. Nijilin. Bastardizing names can be fun. Alright. Part trait for our 3-star mid-shooter pilot. While long range, shooting power boosted by 25%. Long range in this scenario refers to the word tag, and it's one that he actually does have. It raises your shot attack, shot defense, and beam resist by 5%. In other words, a very powerful tertiary shot tag, something you may actually consider running, as it does also activate a couple of traits. Keeping that in mind, a 25% shooting power boost on a 3-star pilot is nothing to scoff at. So, good on you, sir. You're doing something pretty interesting here. A useful tertiary tag, a useful boost. Are your stats 200 across the board? No, but they're not really that great. It's a 3-star, though. All right. So, as I said, he has the long-range word tag, powerful tertiary for a shot, and heavy armor. A okay tertiary for a shot machine. I say okay because it doesn't really activate a lot of stuff that's beneficial to shot off the top of my head. But overall, as it gives shot attack and shot defense, it's still very powerful. Carryover, keep in mind. Statistically, we're looking at about, oh boy, it's going to be what? About 1,000 or so melee attack, a little over that. cool for a shot pilot. It's not too shabby. As for shot, looking a little better. We're sitting at about, what, 1500, 1600 or so. Again, 3-star pilot. So his trait is decent for what he is, honestly. Like, for a welfare, no, not a welfare, for a 3-star pilot, that's a very good trait. What I'm going to say about that. You know, overall, obviously not the best trait because there's only one trait slot, no alterations, sure. But if you lack a good shooting pilot and you can fit long range into your build, he'll bring a lot of value. Cool. All right, and our 4-star pilot for this week, Boris. Oh, look at you, Boris. All right, with technique attribute, debuff EX skill effect up 22%. Keep in mind, what this actually does is flat addition. So if you have a skill that's going to apply a debuff of 34% or whatever, you're just flat adding that 22%, goes right up to 56. No harm, no foul, just flat addition. And all you need to do is be technique. Do keep in mind, though, a lot of people do run buffs instead of debuffs for a variety of reasons, accessibility being the primary one. So with that in mind, you may not have a lot of debuffs on your suit to actually make leverage with this, but hey, you know what? The option's there. As for numbers, our mid-shooter pilot here is rocking, about 1300, 1350 or so melee attack, kind of in that ballpark. And then as for shot, we're looking at about 3100 or so, kind of around there. For a 4-star, not build project pilot. That's some good stats. Real good stats. As for word tags, he's bringing Ace Exclusive and Gundam Type. Ace Exclusive being one of the 2 best tags that you want on your shot build, giving that fat 10% shot attack buff. As well as Gundam Type, an extremely powerful tertiary tag that activates a myriad of traits across tons of different parts for all types of builds. So it's a very powerful tag to have on call. Overall, for a non-build project pilot, this man's doing fire. I'd say like probably top 20 pilots, like ignoring build project, if not better. Good job, Boris. You did better than I thought. Gotta love Benson's random word from dictionary and see what sticks, naming characters. Yeah, hey, but you know what? When English isn't your first language and you want to try to keep the character names sounding like ethnically accurate to a degree, I'm gonna say they're doing a lot better than some other series are. Like, let's be real here. Credit where credit is due. Even if they're just like throwing darts at a board, they're shitting luck, man. Like the names, as awkward as they may be for native speakers of the language that the name hails from, look, man, with a name like Boris, I'm not going to ask too many questions. Yeah, maybe he doesn't look like a Boris, but you know what? Sure, whatever, man. It's better than everyone having, you know, the same ethnic names, even though they're clearly not, you know, belonging to that group. It's fine, you know, they don't know the other languages, they're comfortable with their own name, whatever, that's cool. I'm glad they're trying. That's pretty much it, you know. Yeah, you're right. Bob. I'm surprised. Okay, I am surprised they didn't go for the low-hanging fruit of a pilot named Bob in the Gunpla builders. Like, come on. The joke writes itself. Okay. Anyways, let's take a look at the Vual. And go from there. Now, as this is just a normal gacha suit, no fancy pantsy 7-star on this, I'm actually kind of interested. Alright, so, let's take a look at the noggin. Defender job, melee power boosted by 35%. Pretty much the same thing that I said about the halberd from the Gusion Rebake. In very certain builds, specific niche setups, this will excel and be very, very powerful. However, considering the parts, traits, and just the catalog of stuff we have available to us, you are better off on average, running a infighter or outfighter pilot and getting your buffs through other traits than using a defender, because infighter and outfighter passively give you a melee power boost on top of anything else that they may activate. Defender typically doesn't activate very many offensive options. It's pretty much all that there is to it. As for tags, close combat, heavy armor, I've talked about that combination before, so I won't bore your ears off. As for stats, we're looking at about 3,300 or so shot attack, which for a 4-star gacha suit is kind of the average. Actually, it's kind of where we'd expect to sit these days, so that's, moot point. As for melee, though, we're looking very hale and hearty. We're looking at, what, like 2k melee attack on the head? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. No complaints here. It's a good head. Alright, torso. When attacking with physical, easy to do, enemy melee cut minus 30%. I'll talk about it again, as this is still a relatively new addition to the activatable traits sphere. Long and short, what this does, if you had a part on a suit that says reduces enemy melee power by 20%, the point of this trait is to take that removal and negate 30% of it. Now, we don't know if it's a bug, we don't know if it's intentional, but there's no lower floor to this. Meaning, if I have one part that says, the enemy melee attack is, reduced by 20%, and you brought this part equipped, it goes from 20% down, and what they do is they remove 30%, leaving us with a 10% difference. In a perfect world, this gets negated to 0. In Bandai Namco's world, it just kind of rolls over. So you effectively are doing 10% extra damage to them now. And that's the crux of why this trait is so powerful. Not only does it give you a melee power boost of whatever percent, but it also negates any negations they may already have against you. And because there's a no cap thing to this that we know of, you can stack a lot of these parts, and they better bring a lot of damage reduction. That's all I gotta say. There is a Bob in Gundam, but is it in Gundam Builder? Because that's the joke. Anyways, very powerful trait. As for tags, close combat, heavy armor, talked about that combo already. Parameters, we're looking at about 1,000 shot attack or so, which is kind of what we'd see on a welfare torso, but again, this is not a shot machine, it is a melee machine through and through, and it does it very well. We're looking at about 2,600 melee attack, kind of in that bracket. That is a torso that absolutely slaps. So the trait, very powerful. Those stats, ooh doggy. And the tags, workable. For a non-Sokai, non-build project suit, they did pretty good so far. Oh yeah, like I know that across all of Gundam, there's definitely going to be Bobs, but like it's got to be Bob in builders. Bob the Builder is the entire point of the joke, I didn't want to say it out loud, but somebody already did, so that's no fun at all. Anyways, let's continue with the arms of the Vual, whatever. Shot damage raised 10%. So you're taking 10% extra shot damage. Melee power boosted by 30%. I think that's an amazing trade. Why? Well, just don't get hit. Instant sell. Close combat Gundam type word tag. So we get rid of actually no way. Does this have heavy armor? Am I going crazy? I'm not going crazy. Did it have heavy armor? Good. So we dispose of the heavy armor the torso had, and we get our Gundam type. Again, powerful tertiary, brings lots of options to the table from all sorts of different parts, so no problems there. As for numbers, what are we looking at here? Ooh, spicy. Let's actually max it. Okay, so this is a non-integrated part, mind you. This is raw numbers, which that's pretty good, honestly. So we're looking at about what, 5,600 or so melee attack, kind of in that ballpark. That's really good, honestly, for a non like Sokai, just standard 4-star. That's good shit. As for numbers, we're looking at about 1,000 or so melee attack, or shot attack. Shot attack. Lots of melee attack. A healthy token amount of shot attack. Almost, we're like, what, 200 points shy of the launch Wing Gundam's arms. Honestly, though, for a gorilla pair, sure, man. Yeah, it's interesting. I think this is the only time we've seen... No, actually, it's not true. There's been some other parts that have had the shields, but not integrated. It's just really rare, and this is one of them. So that's cool. All right, overall, nice. All right, next part. Let's check out those legs. Are we going to have legs for days? Melee damage raised 10%. So again, you're taking 10% extra melee damage. Excuse me. And in return, your melee crit rate is boosted by 30%. May as well read 0% because it's completely useless. Moving right along. Close combat Gundam type tags, cool beans. And as for stats, we're looking at about 2,500 or so melee attack and about 1,100 or so shot attack. Sure. Again, keep in mind, really rare to see legs and backpack really excelling when it comes to stats, just due to the nature of the way frames are balanced out stat-wise. So seeing these legs with such high offensive stats is really, really good. Also packs a lot of defensive stats to boot, so that definitely helps it. Cool. The trait's a complete write-off. Tags are workable. Parameters are pretty good. Alright, backpack, glaive combo. A- pierce, B power, swing, and it's a big swing. Lower the enemy Gunpla physical resist by 29%, low cooldown. So, I'm going to have to see the animation on this, but frankly, based on the description that I have placed in front of me, this is just, you know, no. Melee EX skills that aren't bindable or yeets are very dangerous because, you know, you use them and you put yourself into a very vulnerable position while you're executing the combo. If you whiff, or any myriad of issues that could happen, you're just an open target at that point. So you do have to be kind of careful. And that's why I'm looking at this, like, very hesitant. Alright, statistically, it's pretty much, yeah, like 2,200 or so melee attack. We're looking at... Actually, more than that, because, yeah, carryover. So, like, 2,500 melee attack. Looking at, you know, 700 change shot. You know, lower than the legs were, but lots of melee, and that's all that matters. Alright. It's pretty good. Minus the EX skill, frankly. Okay. The glaive. While Gundam type, all enemy cooldown time up 20%. Very, very powerful. Gundam type is very accessible to get your hands on as well. Sure, why not? Statistically, okay, that's a lot of melee attack. 5,600. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. And close combat Gundam type workable tags. So, nothing, you know, game-breaking in this weapon. Well, still pretty good. Alright, Mining Hammer. Oh, yikes. Alright, D Pierce, B plus power, medium cooldown, 30 seconds base, 8-second initial. Execute a combo utilizing the rotating mechanism installed in the tip of your hammer. That sounds code word for help me, I'm going to whiff this. So I will wait until I see the animation for it, but I'm not going to hold high hopes. Statistically, 5,600 melee attack, good, but not Sokai good, obviously. Cool. Close combat, Gundam type, workable. Yeah, I'm just going to have to see the animation for that as well. Anti-material rifle. Doesn't the backpack we got from Battle Log increases the cooldown of the opposing stream also trigger off of Gundam type? Potentially. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. They do like doubling up their stuff. Alright, anti-material rifle. While heavy armor, job gauge increase boosted by 20%. I'm not a big fan of the job gauge. I don't think it was well executed. I think that it can be much, much better than it currently is. But you know, each to their own. You obviously don't need to follow my advice or anything when I'm playing this game. I just look at it and, you know, spit my opinion. In my opinion, job gauge completely worthless. In your opinion, job gauge great. Which case, use the job gauge, man. It does not matter. The game does not require that much min-maxing unless you're aiming for like top 1% arena, which I do. I'm not abort that mission now, man. Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. Close combat, heavy armor, workable. And numbers are actually kind of low, like really low. Less than 5k shot attack. Over in the grand scheme of things, it's a lot of offensive damage for what it is. But, like, yeah. It shines among the welfares. That's how I'll put it. And lastly, the round shield. With axe category equipped, EX skill piercing boosted by 28%. That refers to how much of the enemy's defense and resistances you ignore on impact. Yeah. 20% is a healthy number. I wish they just published the formulas though, so when we see like A-, we know it means by whatever percent, because God, that'd be so much easier. Anyways, moving along here. With axe category equipped, EX skill piercing boosted by 20%. Should be noted that what was in here was alcohol. If you weren't privy to that, so I'm in a happy place. I figured I would need it going into this. Anyways, as I was saying, piercing. I really wish they would actually show us the math behind it so we knew how useful something actually was when it was doing piercing. As it stands right now, we just have to gamble on what it does. I don't like it. I prefer just stacking more power. Unless, of course, you're running a bunch of, like, SS- power skills. Then, yeah, you know what? You should probably pack a little bit of piercing. Yeah. Anyways. Axe category. Lots of axes in the game. Some of them are pretty good. Most of them are mediocre. So it may be a little difficult to meet the criteria for this. But you do get the piercing from it if that's your jam. Close combat, heavy armor, word tags. Both of them are workable tertiaries, and I've talked about them before. As for stats, we're looking at about 300 and change shot attack. Not surprising, considering it starts with base 0. And as for melee, we're looking much healthier. We're looking at about 1840 or so melee attack, which is significant for a shield. And, of course, this is pre-marks. Good stuff. All right. Pretty much everything on here is really neato, except for that trait that I personally don't like. But again, you do you. All right, so the Vual, a very interesting suit. Brings some interesting stuff to the table. You know, arms that look like they should be integrated but aren't. Some interesting traits. Cool. Edgy appearance, can't forget that. All right. So, let's go take a look at the Twitter videos for that new suit, and then we will hop on over to take a look at any alterations that there are. Doesn't look like there's very many, thank God. Okay. So, let us refresh the great Twitter. Okay. Let us watch. Who could have foreseen this? Looks almost like a copy. No need to check the video. Hey, You know what? I'm gonna check just in case that, you know, that one time has something really cool and different on it. You never know, right? Alrighty. The math on piercing and a thing that performs better against certain defense stats, but the entire how good is pretty bad. Air stat of piercing is good. Yeah, again, you know, if you're running nothing but like high damage skills, you should probably balance a little bit of piercing in there. But if you already have like a B plus skill, is there a Gundam Vual Twitter video? There probably is. It's just, you know, remember that came out last week. That is going to be potentially quite difficult to find. Or did I just accidentally on it? Aha! To answer, I did accidentally on it. Let's take a look at the Vual. Let's see what we got going. That is exactly what I was worried. What was that animation? Hold on, rewind time. That is so stiff. If that came out, if that's a cloned animation from like one of the launch suits, all right, I'll forgive you. But if this is a new animation coming in now, no, nope, take that back. That is an abomination. Brave Axe combo, good, it better stay. All right, next DX skill on here, which is the backpack. And it is a, yeah, big swing. It's kind of neat. You know, you do like that half bindable dash forward and then the swing. It's interesting. Yeah. Overall, the biggest issue I have with this is just... it looks like you can be interrupted out of it, which kills a lot of its value. Like, what can you do, though? Old animation. It better be an old animation. That was so atrociously stiff. If you told me that a high schooler made that, it'd be like, yeah, I got you. That makes sense. No offense, Bandai Namco, but, like, man, some of your animations are a jank, for lack of a better word. What's with the recent wave of recycled suits? As I brought up at the beginning of the video, I'm pretty sure this is just a combination of bad timing on two fronts. So typically for these types of service games, the schedule for content releases is determined a significant amount of time in advance, you know, potentially months. So what I figure happened was they were like, all right, we should probably start doing something with this attribute link thing that we added forever ago. And everyone's like, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. We should probably do that. All right, we'll do reruns of old suits. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, we can bite for that. Cool. And then after they hammered that all out, someone busted down the door from another department and said, hey guys, we're changing the schedule completely because, yeah, we think it's a good idea now. And, you know, they just kind of both went live at the same time, and here we are. That would be my best guess, just based on how development works a lot of the time. I don't know. At the end of the day, I don't think anyone truly does, except for the people that work there, and they're not going to tell us what's up. So, like, the best we have is conjecture, but all I'm going to boil it down to is a case of, for a company as big as Bandai Namco is, and, like, in general, left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing, just kind of kicked in here. And we just got two things starting at the same time, and it was just bad mojo. All right. So, what do we got here? Wait, nothing? Just you. Can't be that simple, can it? Alright. We're going to look at the alteration for the Wing Gundam Zero. I'm probably going to go to bed, because if you haven't noticed, my eyes are starting to sting, and it's hard keeping them open looking into this ring light. Okay. So, for anyone that hasn't heard me talk about alterations before, I'll make it real quick. When looking at alterations, I don't care about the stats because it's safe to assume the numbers have just gone up based on, the way that alteration works. We have less than 5 examples on record where alternating a part drastically differs the stats, but with that in mind, I do highly recommend that before you invest the materials and time into doing this step, you make sure the end result is actually what you want. With that in mind, 7 stars appear to have their own custom 7-star stat distribution, meaning there's no point even looking at the stats to begin with, because every single suit is hand-tailored for something. All 7 stars completely blow all the other suits out of the water by just sheer fact of numbers. There's just no point worrying about it. Word tags don't change at all when you're alternating, at least not up to this point in the game, meaning the only thing that changes that we care about to look at is the EX and or trait. As for traits, you get a second trait. For EX skills, the numbers will change. Sometimes the EX skill itself just outright changing. We've had a few cases of that in the past. So that's what I'm looking for in alteration. Just the EX skill and the trait. I might take a peek at the word tags because I didn't look at the suit before, but I'm not looking at the numbers. There's just no point. All right, Wing Gundam Zero Noggin. When shot attack is over 10,000, squad EX skill power plus 35%. That is very, very powerful, considering it's extremely easy to get over 10k shot attack. These days, that is a single part. And the squad EX skill power plus means that this gives you an option to kit out your support suits for multiplayer or multiplayer controlled nodes, certain 3v3s and stuff, where you can just load up your 2 other suits with the squad EX skill power, shot, shooting power, whatever, and your main suit just gets a bunch of steroids. It's a weird time we live in. And the second trait, when a long rifle is equipped, EX skill power boosted by 40%. Honestly, very powerful wombo combo here. Very easy to activate both of them as well. Yeah, it's also a big suit. You are right on that one. All right. Ace exclusive Gundam type. Neat. Very powerful traits, hopefully surprising nobody. And decent word tags. Hopefully also, again, surprising nobody. All right, Torso. Zero System. Raise your melee attack by 29%, raise your shot attack by 39%, and your shot skill cooldowns instantly reduce 33%. To be expected from a limited part these days. Very, very powerful awakening here. Lots of good damage steroids and the EX skill cooldown in your pocket. Obviously, very, very convenient. So, yeah. Nice stuff. Arms. With long rifle category equipped, initial EX skill charge boosted by 20%. That's good stuff, good mojo. Melee damage raised 10%, meaning you take 10% extra melee damage, also known as don't get hit. With that trade-off, all enemy cooldown time up 23%. Good stuff. Take 10% more melee damage, but you slow their cooldowns by a quarter. Powerful. Fierce. Good stuff. Legs. With power attribute, squad cooldown minus 19%. When ace exclusive, enemy EX skill cut minus 40%. So as I mentioned, with that second trait, enemy EX skill cut minus 40%. So if they have enemy EX skill damage reduced by 40%, this completely negates the entirety of that. If they have anything lower than 40% cut, then you just get the bonus back. Long and short, if the enemy is not running any cuts, then you're effectively reading this as while ace exclusive, EX skill damage plus 40%. It's very powerful. Overall, this is a really nice suit. With power attribute, you get your squad cooldown minus 19% seconds. Cool stuff. Backpack. When armor is 90% or more, EX skill power boosts by 40%. don't get hit. Shot damage raised by 20%, so you're taking 20% more shot damage. Enemy all cut minus 40%. So what that means is you are cutting every single stat belonging to your enemy by 40%. You have to remember how crippling this is, because not only are you removing 40% of, let's say, the enemy's offensive power, but you're also removing 40% of their defenses, which means their carryovers do much, much less. It's a double whammy type of thing. Yeah. All cuts are nasty. That's all it comes down to. Unless enemy all cut just refers to offensive, like EX skill damage, melee damage, shot damage, all those damages. In which case, it makes a lot more sense. End of the day, it's a spooky thing. Want that backpack now? No, not really. I'd rather just save for the suits I do really want, so... Cool. Guns. Twin guns, to be exact. Max output twin buster rifle. A plus power, D pierce, cutscene cooldown. It's just a big beam of death. Very powerful, much wow, very spook. And twin buster rifle with the much lauded rolling buster rifle. In case you are new to this game or you haven't seen this part in action before, this is one of the big showcase parts. The way that it works is you hold yourself in the most aggressive T-pose you've ever seen, gun in each hand, and then you begin to spin like a very, very slow Beyblade, firing beams across the map. And they hit hard, and you can easily clear an entire wave in mere moments. And if you're lucky, you may actually even clip the second wave as well. It is very scary, it is very powerful, it is very AoE, and it is back again. A plus pierce, B plus power, medium cooldown, 60 base, 15 initial. Just good stuff. Okay. Overall, the Wing Gundam is pretty much what I expected. Same suit, a little more power creep, a couple different little tweaks added to their skills. Sure. Okay. All right. Well, with that, I am going to wrap up and roll out. We've talked about all the new stuff, all the stuff I didn't talk about last week, and we are done. With that in mind, I'm going to try to stream something like before end of the week. I know I've been kind of slacking on doing my streaming stuff, but I've just kind of been in this weird transition phase right now with content. I've been trying to find something to play. There were a lot of games I had on the to-do list that just kind of dissipated due to trying it for like a couple of minutes to make sure I'd enjoy it enough to stream it and going, nope, it's not for me. Other games, like for example, GBO2, that I had planned an entire content cycle around that beta test and set the time up so I'd be available for it all. Yeah, that didn't work out, so that flushed. Yeah. Anyways, I'll think of something. Anyways, as always, guys, thanks for watching, hanging out. I will see you guys 2 weeks from now for this content stream, part whatever we're on now, a few hundred, talking about whatever suits come then. Yeah, so peace out. See you guys in the next one.